Birthday Hawa, birthday Awashai, birthday Hawa, birthday Awashai. Call Allah in Wahawa, Allahayanawa, Yahweh Bashem Awashai, Bashem Rakakadash. Bless you the Most High, Yahweh. Bless you the Most High, in the name of the only God and Son, Yahweh Shai. Bashem Rakakadash, in the name of the Holy Spirit. All praises, honor, and glory to our power, Yahweh Bashem Awashai, Bashem Rakakadash, the powers of Yasha Allah, Israel. Being you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and the Americans, and you Israelite foreigners that are likened unto the speckled bird, being variegated, coming in different sorts, scattered, dispersed through the four winds, but lineage by the way of your fathers, going back to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. We try the Spirit, by the Spirit, whether they are children of the power. All right. Of course, giving double honors to our apostles and elders of Great Millstone, who peace and salutation to the election, starting with the Ra'ashim, the 144,000, Hanabiyayim, the prophets, Hara'ashim, the heats of the governing body that shall rule in the kingdom of heaven, that shall be established here on earth. Shalom to the rest of the 1/3, which are a great numeral multitude of men, women, and children that are believers in the words of Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, that are also sealed with the testimony, the Idwath of Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, having the Wa, which is the mark of exemption from the judgment which is upon us. Shemya Mahba is a Mahba from the Great Millstone Plaintables Camp, located here in the city of Philadelphia. Abawa I'm Lamani Ma'ait, coming with a lesson, little our week lesson. This week lesson is going into an article, but before I go into the article, I must bring this information that I just had seen off of Wikipedia. It says the George Floyd protest in Philadelphia. George Floyd protests in Philadelphia. Part of George Floyd protesters in Philadelphia on June the 1st. Date May 30th through June the 23rd, 2020, which is the first phase. And October 26th, 2020 to the present, second phase. So this is still an ongoing protest that is going on. All right. And we know there's different various agendas that are in movement at the time, okay, to stir up the people, the hearts of men, okay, in order to fulfill and different future controls, okay, the order out of chaos, okay, the pressure from below, pressure from beneath, pressure from below. And Slocky, I missed the actual term, but I'll have to, if it escapes me at this time, I'll have to, how wretches I go again and find it. I want to say pressure from below, pressure from above, but I have to double check it. All right, but a lot of these things are published on the dollar bill. All right. But going into this George Floyd thing, which these protests and these riots, happen in various cities, but Philadelphia did sustain much damage from it. They had curfews that were placed out. National Guardsmen were also dispersed throughout certain locations, also throughout the city, municipality, and the city center. And different marches had taken place. Different looting had occurred, and it was a lot that happened from this. Okay, this event, which George Floyd, if you can remember, it was I believe he was probably a Judite or from the Southern Kingdom, Israelite man who actually he's up to no good, and he ended up having he actually got a judgment placed upon him. The Lord sent forth, and that judgment ended up with that man ended up kneeing on his neck, did a knee on neck. I believe the man was by the name of Derek. I gotta get his name. One of the officers. Let me get some of them information, them details, but yeah, Derek Chauvin. All right. And they have an ongoing trial at this current time. Okay. And now the information that I want to go into, which I had saw some of these different news reports, and for Philadelphia, was that the Philadelphia police are closely monitoring ex-officer trial in the death of George Floyd. The former Minneapolis police officer who pressed his knee into George Floyd's neck went on trial. Floyd's death sparked protests and anger across the world, including right here in Philadelphia. I'm going to actually pull up this trial. This case, or this actual article, pardon me. It says, went on trial on charges of murder and manslaughter. It says prosecutors Jerry Blackwell showed the jurors the footage during the opening statements after, and give me a wee moment, let me pause this. After telling them that to remember the 9 minutes and 29 seconds, the amount of time Derek Chauvin had Floyd pinned to the pavement last May. Floyd's death sparked protests and anger across the world, including right here in Philadelphia. That's where I'm currently. Some residents are concerned about how the trial will play out. I was fortunate enough to be spared the first one. The second one, unfortunately, they vandalized a store and destroyed it completely. It said this West Philly store owner, Rabbi Mustafa fears his business corridor in West Philly would not survive another wave of vandalism, and expressed concern if the police would be equipped should the unthinkable occur. I really have no faith in quelling or taking care of anything that would come unexpected. I think they are unprepared at this moment. The Philly police say at this point there's no specific threats of violence or unrest in the city, working to rebuild trust. However, our elected leaders such as State Representative Joanna McClinton, I believe she's like an Ephraimite if I'm not mistaken, whose office is down the very same corridor. Okay, let me see if I think she's a Ephraimite. I might have just seen her recently in a or actually no, this is somebody else. Slakia. I think the other person I seen was a city council. So it's in the hood. It's off of 52nd South 60th Street in the 39 zip code here, Philadelphia, PA. I'm not sure if there's any images. So nah, she's no Ephraimite. She's appears to be a Judite, possibly. All right. So-called black man, so-called Negro. That's her right there. You can see her in what appears to be a church. All right. All juiced in. That's it. PA House of Democrats. All right. And you have to, of course, understand that there is a linkage between these different whole agendas of the Black Lives Matter, which we're named black. We don't identify with that social construct, which is negatively or inspired, okay, by Satan, Esau, Edom, the wicked. All right. And that whole George Soros, he actually funds these various he's been found out to be funding, which is a philanthropist, banker, I believe, when you go into it. Investor, all right. Billionaire investor, okay. And he's with the whole Black Lives Matter. And that's linked with the whole Democratic Party, okay. And it's funny that when you go into Google, they don't give you like. Now they say that's false check, as they say, but like you have here Snoop's. Let's see what it says. He owning the Antifa and Black Lives Matter. That's what it comes up here. But I see here that George Soros Foundation pours 220 million into racial equality push. You know, Mr. Soros' grip would invest 150 in grants to so-called black-led racial justice groups. Okay, and another 70 million towards local grants for criminal justice reform and civic engagement opportunities. All right, so just just follow the money. I'm not saying anything much more. All right. You have here a list of projects off of Wikipedia supported by George Soros. You can look on that, all right, on your own as well. That's something more to look into. This is just what it was here listed. Now, just to go into the information which I wish to bring up, I'm going to finish off. It says we've got to stay vigilant and to make sure there's not only policing is fair, but that there is reform, because it's clear from incidents like this that reform is needed. I mean, they're not knowing that, Esau, Edom, the powers that are set up at B right now, and rulership and dominion are the sword of the Most High. So, of course, these judgments are executed through the Lord's left hand, which is Esau, Edom, all right, Satan, the physical counterpart for him, okay? This is Ezekiel chapter 21. And verse 5, I'm going to start there. That all flesh may know that Yahweh has drawn forth my sword out of his sheath, and it shall not return anymore. It says, sigh therefore the Son of Man with the breaking of thy loins, with the bitterness sigh before thy eyes. I'm just going to go skip down to verse 8. Ezekiel 21, or Yahazak Allah, which Ezekiel, the strength in the Hebrew is he, strength, power. All right, Yah is he, and Chazak. All right, Chazak goes into strength or might. Allah is power. All right, or God. All right, so that's Ezekiel's name in Hebrew. Now it says here, verse 8, again, the word of Yahweh came unto me again, saying, Son of man, prophesy, and say, thus said the Lord, say, a sword is sharpened and it's also furbished. Okay, it's sharpened and it's furbished. It's getting prepared. It's ready. Okay, marat is for furbish, which is the polish, to make smooth. Okay. Now, when you getting ready to get down for something, karath or cut something up, you sharpen it. It is sharpened to make a slaughter it is furbished that it may glitter, should we then make mirth? It contemned the rod of my son as every tree, and he hath given it to be furbished that it may be handled. This sword is sharpened, and it is furbished to be given into the hand of the slayer. Okay? Cry, ho, son of man, for it may be upon my people, and shall be upon all the princes of Israel. Terrors by reason of the sword shall be upon my people. Smite therefore upon thy thigh. Okay? This is Psalms 17. The sword of the Most High is Esau, Edom the wicked. This is Psalm 17 and verse 13. It says, Arise, O Yahweh, disappoint him, cast him down, deliver my soul from the wicked, which are the wicked Edom. When you look into the biblically, you look in the book of Malachi, the first chapter, around fourth verse, speak about the border of wickedness, wicked, which is thy sword, or harab ka. All right. So the soul, or the wicked are the sword for the Lord. All right. The whipping stick bringing George judgment to the nation of Israel. Okay. So George Floyd drew the Most High sword, Esau Edom, Derek Calvin, or whatever his name is. He was killed by judgment of the Lord. Okay, simple as that, because the Lord belongeth to issues from death, as the scriptures speak. And it's only biblical prophecy that these things go down and continue to go down. All right, because our people have rebelled and went against the orders, the law, statute, commandments of the Lord. Okay, so thus these sins that are covering them are, there's a judgment that is executed in its appropriate season. Okay, it's our sins that separate us from the Most High. All right, so now what I want to do is to go to news again. Now it says here that West Philadelphia business. This is 5 days ago. This was published. It says that Philadelphia, or West Philadelphia particularly, businesses prepare for potential civil unrest from trial over George Floyd killing. And just showing like pretty much look like what's that? GameStop. Different one of the businesses that suffered loss. And Park West section, Park West Town Plaza. All right. There's different sneaker stores just for your trainers or sneakers. You call them here in Babylon. Okay. As the trial of the former Minneapolis police officer charged with the death of George Floyd is set to begin next week. Well, it's already begun now by this time. He's extremely worried. Jabari Jones said he's extremely worried for West Philly businesses. Jones had, to the West Philadelphia Corridor Collaborative, the largest business associating with more than 2,000 members last year, looting and civil unrest that followed the George Floyd death hit the members' businesses hard, including the 52nd and Market Street Corridor and Park West Town Center. Now Jabari and the group's members are monitoring and preparing for a trial eventual verdict, which poses the risk of reigniting the looting that erupted citywide in the major U.S. cities in 2020. If the trial triggered civil unrest, Jones doubted that the Philadelphia police could protect the businesses due to lack of resources. I don't think that they are able to respond any better than the last go around. And I mean, in the last time, a lot of the different police was pretty much told to stand down. As many have, they end up looting the stores, going through. They were pretty much just like, if anything, chase them away. They would go from store to store, taking whatever they wanted. You know what I mean? Minimum arrest was even made. I mean, I believe a lot of times no arrest was really made in certain cases. All right. You can check out footage of it. On YouTube, you could check out, different clips of it. I don't own any of this, but you can see like police cars set on fire. You can see some of the boarded up, things are boarded up. It was a mess. You know what I mean? It wasn't a good look, but this is what and you see these different protests, the Black Lives Matter things going out. You see this, so you can check it out. Dudes is running in and out of these stores, and it was during this whole pestilence outbreak and everything, but that's pretty much it. What I got, at this time, showing you footage. You just check it out on your own. And I don't only need this footage, by the way, YouTube, so fair use warning. All right, so I'm going to go into some scriptures. This is the Ecclesiastes chapter. Actually, I'll start at another verse. This is Ecclesiastes chapter 41:8. It says, "Woe be unto you, ungodly men, which have forsaken the law of the Most High." All right, you Israelites. Okay. For if you increase, all right, and it talks about obviously Esau, Edom. All right, as you read up above, but I'm leaving this to Jake, because Jake received the law, statutes, commandments. It says, "For if you increase, it shall be to your destruction, and if you be born, ye shall be born to a curse, and if you die, a curse shall be your portion." All right, and as the scriptures say in the book of Job. And you can read Deuteronomy, the various curses, too. This is the book of Job, chapter 14. "A man that is born of a woman is full of days, and is a few days and full of trouble." Okay? Going back to this verse. It says, "And if you be born, you shall be burned to a curse, and if you die, a curse shall be your portion." Now, you could go into Deuteronomy, the 28th chapter, and quickly just check out some of the different curses, because George Floyd getting put to death. Hey, that those are one of the curses that the Lord placed upon us, to have our enemies, pursuing us and etc. Which, let me just find one of them curses real quick. Deuteronomy, the 28th chapter, which these actually curses distinguish us between the nations. All right, that we are Israelites. All right, they are a nas, or a sign. Okay, that distinguish that we are the Israelites. Okay, because we fit these curses. All right. This is Deuteronomy 28:19. "Cursed shalt thou be when thou comest in." From your birth, you're coming into the earth world, and cursed shalt thou be when thou goest out. And we seen that. All right, we see this man actually went out destroyed. It says, "The Lord shall send upon thee cursing, vexation, and rebuke, correction, in all that thou settest thine hand unto for to do, until it be destroyed, and until thou perish quickly, because of the wickedness of thy doings, whereby thou hast forsaken me." Okay? Because we left the Lord. You know, just all these precepts justify really solidify everything I've been saying. Okay. The Lord Yahweh shall smite thee with madness and blindness and astonishment of heart. You know, you see our people in the low condition. You see that dude George Floyd in the low crate looking literally crazy mad. All right. Okay. And also I'm gonna go to this other scripture. You know, a byword, and thou shalt become a astonishment, and a proverb, a byword. You know, people jest and mock about us. Okay, among all nations, whether Yahweh shall lead thee. You know, we actually got a negative stigma placed upon us too. Okay. I mean, there's people that are in rejection of this whole movement, or that whole Black Lives Matter, which we don't support here at Great Millstone. But you have an anti against a movement which goes into the Blue Lives Matter. You know what I mean? And people in the Blue Lives Matter, they pretty much believe that the cops, they matter. All right, really, you know, and that they're justifying in all their actions. They trust their cops. I remember I was actually had to do a jury trial, you know, back when I was in the world, and in the jury trial, when they were actually choosing out jurors, it was asked, you know, would you believe a police testimony over a civilian's testimony? And the person is Edomite, or the wicked. She actually said that yes, you know what I mean, which that presents, what's that? A bias, I believe that's it. That's what that's called. Okay, bias, which is a prejudice in favor or against one thing. Okay, because they're gonna be in favor of one thing and against the other. Okay, which is, you know, I mean, obviously they're gonna be for their own. Okay, which and against the other, in which we know there's a great gulf fixed between the nation of Israel and the Edomites, the wicked. All right, a separation, a division. All right, so going on, it says, verse 48. Or actually, verse 49. The Lord shall bring a nation against thee, against thee. Okay, which against thee. Nation. I see. Unto, what's that? Il Yakah. Unto thee, a nation, Gawaya nation, ma of or from Rachawak. All right, which against thee from far. All right, because Rachawak from Rachak, I believe in it. When you see it, is distance. Rachak might be meaning, or actually meaning from far. All right, and this is talking about the Romans, which today's Romans are Edomites. Okay, you were them then and now. All right, which they placed that actual name upon themselves from the Japhetic nations which they conquered. All right, took the lands from. All right, but it says against thee from far, from the end of the earth, as swift as the eagle flieth. It's talking about Esau, Edom. That's their major emblem. Okay, a nation whose tongue thou shalt not understand. Okay, because we speak Hebrew, and of course when we came here they gave us English. All right, and we know, you know, through obviously them ruling and conquering our people, you know, various other tribes, they gave us, you know, these different tongues and such. which, like I said, we are Hebrew Israelites, okay? A nations of fierce countenance, which shall not regard a person of the old, nor show favor to the young, okay? And you can clearly see that with the neon neck, okay, from they got him down as a hip-hop artist. I call it neon neck just from jiu-jitsu. You know what I mean? He put a neon neck, which pretty much is the technique is, I mean, it's super dirty. I mean, I just want to say that. You know what I mean? It's super dirty. I believe actually, you know, from training experience, I've had some, you know, try to do it, you know, to me. And like I said, it's, you know, obviously you got to defend against it. But, hey, he's not set in no form, fashion to defend himself. All right, this man is being apprehended. I believe he had he's already cuffed, if I'm not mistaken, and he had, you know, surrounded by police, and the dude was kneeing on his neck, which that cut off, you know, I mean, you know, the carotid arteries, you know, thus choking a blood choke, you know what I mean, putting this dude out. All right, I believe he was going in and out and such, but you know, this is that's that nation sent. You know, and this dude represents that nation, Esau, Edom, all right, of the wicked, all right, and this was a justified action, all right, killing by Yahweh Shem Shai, all right, because of this man's deeds, his sins, all right, so, you know, there's other scriptures I want to finish off in. This is back to Ecclesiastes chapter 41 and 8. And it says, verse 10, let's go. It says, all of the earth and shall turn to the earth again. So the ungodly shall go from curse to destruction. All right. Which that's, yo, man, Esau, Edom. All right. Because, like I said, these curses are going to fall upon him. All right. And it's going to be a whole complete destruction. All right. And we all know our people, too. You know what I mean? 2/3 of our people going from a curse to complete destruction. All right. The mourning of men is about their bodies. Okay. Their flesh. But an ill name of sinners shall be blotted out. Okay. And, you know, you see a lot of people are mourning. All right, especially particularly of our own nation about their bodies. You know, a body, when you look up, let me see, which our body just, it holds our soul. But I'm going to go to the etymon real quick. Let me see. Body in a plural, but body, I just want to put body. Now, body just goes into meaning the main part of anything. Also, the physical structure of a human, man of color, hue. Main principal part. Okay. Extension to person of a human being. Main part. Okay. You know, and I mean, look, you know, we know that our people have compassion for their own. And, of course, they're going to act out, you know, seeing this, all right? But they acting out, not having an understanding of judgment, okay? We know that, of course, you have to comply when thou is in the way of the adversary. You know, you have to watch out when you're of course, placed within, you know, being apprehended by someone who has the power to kill. All right, which you read that in the 9th chapter of Ecclesiastes, I believe maybe 9 and 9. Okay, which it speaks about, or let me see if this is it. (13) Actually, keep thee far from the man that had the power to kill. So I mean, I'm not going to do any action that's going to put myself in that case. You know what I mean? But we know there's wrongful arrest as well. So shalt thou not doubt the fear of death. You know, because with the sword comes what? The possibility of death. Because remember, the sword is a death instrument for death. All right. And if thou are some punishments, you know, it could be fatal. All right. Injury. It says, and if thou come into him, all right, that man Esau, make no fault, lest he take away thy life presently. Remember that thou goest in the midst of snares, and thou walkest upon the battlements of the city. All right. You know, the walls. So I mean, the scriptures talk about this as well. Offend not against the multitude of the city, Ecclesiastes 7 and 7. Okay. And thou shalt not cast thyself down among the people. All right. And like I say, if you go out and participate in those riots, the new riots that Yahweh Ratazal and Most High willing will happen, if it's His will, you know, that's going to bring forth offense, because the scriptures speak about how one should not go follow a multitude to do evil. This is the book of Proverbs, I believe it's in, or Exodus actually. Exodus in the Torah and the Law, 23 and 2. It reads, "Thou shalt not follow to a multitude to do evil." Okay, so la'atha haya ahar ya. Okay, after, not thou, and you have Yahaya, which I believe that go to be. Let me see. I gotta look at this word real quick. Yeah, to be, like Hawa, Haya is to be. All right. This is just be or exist. I believe too. It means, if I'm not mistaken, right? Ahar, yeah, which that goes into after. Okay, the following part. Okay. Rabayim, which is goes into Rabah, goes into like much or more. When you look up that word, you'll see it says much or great. All right, talking about the people. All right, in this case, okay, a multitude, that is. Okay, and you have wa, la'ah, and not. Oh, it's like if I missed something, it says la, ra'ith. All right, so la ra'ith, two and evil. Okay, I believe it's like might be in a plural sense, right? Yeah, and it says neither shalt thou speak in a cause to decline after many to wrest judgment. All right, so we ain't supposed to go after the multitude to do evil. So, I mean, because that could get you obviously killed, and it could get you judgment placed upon you. All right, so we don't, of course, support any of these silly, you know what I mean, protests and all of that. Okay, you know, you going out there stealing and looting, that's stupid. But you know this is biblical prophecy. So the scriptures talk about the cities being troubled, you know, neighbor being against neighbor. We ain't saying that it's going to be a complete race war or nothing of that nature, you know what I mean? But the scriptures talk about Egyptian versus Egyptian. All right? We in the modern day Egypt, okay, the place of our captivity, which was in the ancient time, but this is the modern Sodom and Sodom and Egypt. All right, which we know the judgment that came to Sodom, and we know the judgment that came for Egypt. You know, old Egypt, that ancient Egypt, they had the deliverance of Israel, which in this time will come with the deliverance of the elect. And there is destruction of Pharaoh and his armies and such. You know what I mean? Swallowed up in the Yum and stuff in the sea. You know, but this time, like I said, we're gonna see 2/3 get cut off here, part here in America. All right, so you know that's pretty much it that I'm speaking on in the spirit. You know what I mean? There's many other scriptures you can go into. You know what I mean? But that's what the spirit has me going on right now. So, giving all praises to Yahweh Bashem El Shai, Bashem Kakodash, and double honors to our apostles and elders of Great Millstone. Peace and salutation to the elect. Say these different West Philly businesses prepare for potential civil unrest from trial over George Floyd's killing. All right, so shalom to the elect.